Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Geek Trifecta, a very special episode. My name's Stephen, and I'm hosting again this week, and I'm joined as usual by Brian. How are you, Brian?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much.
And this week we have a very special guest, Lee Baker, but you might know him as Psychedelicsnake.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Thank you for having me here again. It's my first podcast, and I'm nervous.
No, man, it's my pleasure. I'm excited to have you here. But yeah, this week we have quite a few topics. Lee's brought a topic too, so we're excited to get stuck right into it. But what I'd like to start with, if it's okay with you, Lee, do you want to introduce yourself first, if people don't know who you are?
Oh, so introduce myself?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. So I'm like one of the thousands and thousands of YouTubers you can find who play video games and talk over them during the cutscenes. How annoying is that? But yeah, I guess what kind of differentiates me, I suppose, from the others is that I was kind of one of the first people to do it. And I've been doing it ever since, and it's become a bit of a passion. And yeah, that's pretty much what I'm known for. Just playing video games, having fun, and well, I also do streams as well. Used to do it on Twitch, now do it on Hitbox. But yeah, that's pretty much what I do.
Yeah, and you're really good at it.
Oh, thank you.
One of the funniest out there, in my opinion.
Thank you very much.
So we'll start off with our news story of the week, which is PlayStation VR being announced and the price of that being announced. So it's announced at $399 or £349. It's coming out in October. And what's your guys' opinion on the price?
God, who is gonna buy that, man? That's another console's worth of money. I don't know. I'm still very much on the fence when it comes to the whole VR thing in general. I hope it takes off I think in about 10 years' time, the technology is going to advance to a point where VR is going to be a serious implementation into gaming. But right now, it's strapping a big pair of sunglasses onto your face, and whoa, dude, I'm in the game for $400. So I don't know. I'm not sure. $400 seems a lot of money, but at the same time, there's a lot of technology and a lot of hardware going into these things. So I guess how much money is going into it, that's going to be covering the development costs, and how much is just there because, whoa, bright shiny new gadget, let's put a big number on it.
Yeah, when you compare it to the other VR headsets, though, the prices seems quite fair. Like,
oh yeah.
If you look at. What about you, Brian? Will you be picking it up?
Yeah, I'll probably be picking one up, honestly. It is a costly investment, but I think compared to someone like me who doesn't have this crazy desktop that could run either of the other two devices, but I have a PS4, and that's going to run VR, that's probably going to be how I experience VR.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm like really excited to pre-order it, which would be the first console, or at least something that costs the same amount as a console that I would ever pre-order, but yeah, I think they did a really good job with the price. It could have went the exact other way and been, the same amount, if not more, than the other headsets. So I'm glad that they were able to set the price at even an amount that Shuei Yoshida said they're actually making money on it, which is insane to think about, that they're actually making money on this thing. But yeah, I'm excited to see, like Lee was just saying, it might not be the next big thing in the next few years, but think about what might happen the next 10 years,
Yeah. That's kind of what's stopping me from jumping right into it right now. It's not necessarily the price point. I'd buy it for the price it is, but right now I'm just kind of thinking, what am I going to be doing with a VR headset that's going to really change gaming for me? Other than kind of, using my head as a mouse or a right thumbstick instead and just going, whoa, I can look around and stuff. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like is there anything big coming into games that's going to change the way we play, rather than just having the screen literally like this on our face? I'm not sure. So maybe I'm a bit pessimistic right now. When it does launch, developers kind of look at it and they go, oh, okay, we've got this idea for the game, and more developers get on board on the whole VR thing and start pooling together their creative resources, then we might see some real groundbreaking games that really have the first of their kind. But for now, I'm just kind of thinking it's gaming that I can turn the camera with my head. And I'm just thinking, I don't want to spend $400 for that. So, but maybe I'm completely wrong, and there's a whole other thing, whole more things that are going to come on as a knock-on effect with VR. So hopefully.
Yeah. What I think at the moment, they're focusing on games we already have and just putting them into VR. They need to figure out, get some innovative people that can come up with unique ideas, new genres of games, and see what they can do then.
One thing that I do kind of think is a really good idea is the whole horror games have taken on like the whole first person thing right now. First person mode, where like Amnesia, where it's all about kind of having stuff in your face like this rather than a third person perspective like Resident Evil or Silent Hill. So I think that's probably going to be the obvious go-to thing. With VR, it's like, oh, let's just put a load of like scary horror games where stuff happens in your face when you look over here or behind you or something. So I think that's going to be one cool way of kind of revolutionizing the horror of being in a video game horror experience, or being in that creepy mansion or something like that. So that's one thing I'm excited to see. I still don't know whether it's worth jumping in with the price point though. But I just want to see how that looks and go, I think that's probably going to be my segue into getting it, is just seeing how horror games can change for me. Because I don't think I'd want to play a first-person shooter with VR, because I think I'd be all over the place. Like, what's this over here? What's over there? My aiming would be all over the place.
The fast-paced gameplay, too, would probably make you really dizzy.
Like imagine playing something like, I don't know, say like Mirror's Edge. That's first person, but you're running on rooftops and jumping on this, doing somersaults and quick 180 turns and things like that. It's like, whoa, where am I even looking right now? So I don't know. Maybe with the logistics figured out, it could work really well. Just I'm having a hard time kind of picturing it.
Yeah, definitely. The big thing though is when they start doing, I think anyway, is outside of gaming. There's so many possibilities, like virtual tourism and those kind of things. That's what makes me think it's not just a gimmick as well, like motion controls, where there's so much potential for VR.
That's absolutely true. I think I read somewhere that there's like a virtual cinema where you could actually watch movies. Like you'd actually be sitting in a cinema. Like you could actually see seats next to you when you've got the headset on. You could see like you're in this cinema room. And you could actually watch the movie in like really great detail and real great quality. So it'd feel like going to the movies, but you've just put on the VR headset, which I think is cool. So you're absolutely right when it comes to, like, it's not just for gaming, where it could go in other mediums or like other technological feats. Yeah, I do hope it kicks off, and maybe gaming is going to be kind of like that pillar it needs to lean on for it to kind of break into mainstream audiences. I mean, you can't really picture, I don't know, say like a 60-year-old man jumping into VR technology or something like that. Like, you just said, oh, I just watch TV, I understand TV. But maybe gaming will kind of push the understanding and the awareness of people of VR headsets, and maybe it could break into, mainstream. It could be the way you watch TV in the future. You don't know. That's interesting.
Say as well, something that's exciting ideas I've heard people talk about is you get the 360-degree cameras, and you can put one of those in the middle of like a concert, and then you put on this headset, and it's like you're there in the concert.
Yeah, I think I've seen stuff like that. Yeah, it actually looks really cool. That was really interesting.
Yeah, so if you look around, you see all the people that's around the camera, but it's as if you're there in the middle of the crowd, which would be
I do think outside of gaming, it has a lot of potential as well for other mediums, so that'd be great to see. I'll just go put this outside. It's making so much noise.
No worries. What about you, Brian?
Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, VR has various other practical uses besides gaming, but I was also going to say, well, now that he's back, I'm surprised you aren't like more on board with
Really?
VR. You know, with horror games, like you were saying. I think that would make for some excellent YouTube videos. You know, you freaking out because you know.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right when it comes to. Oh, my camera's going crazy. When it comes to the yeah, YouTube content, yeah, I think there's going to be I think VR has already become a bit of a big thing on with YouTube content and video games and gameplay videos, you know, and it is the whole, you know, I'm going to play this spooky game with these big sunglasses on, and you know, look around, oh, there's a scary woman in my face, and all that jazz. So yeah, it would be fun. I just don't know if I'd be willing to spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds on just having that kind of experience, because I get really into my games without the need of, you know, feeling like I'm in the game. You know, I get really into it already. So, and yeah, VR might help kind of, you know, even push that immersion. I just, again, it's just a lot of money, man. maybe when I come into more money, I'll think about it. But right now, I just spent money on a wedding, and I'm saving money on a wedding party. So the idea of buying a VR headset is just like, that's out the window. Like, I'm even looking at like some 30, 40 pound Steam games. I'm just like, wish. I mean, I could do it, but I'd be in trouble. So the idea of spending hundreds on a VR headset is, I don't know. Right now, it's not in one of my priorities and things to get for gaming. I think I'd soon rather spend that money on a graphics card upgrade or something like that, so I can actually play these new games that are coming out.
Right.
And I just forgot to say too, Lee, congratulations on the wedding.
Oh, thank you very much.
And so you're living in Brazil now. What kind of, because you hear about the cost of games consoles and things like that in Brazil being really high. What's that like?
Yeah, so electronics, I mean, namely Apple products, so things like iPhones and iPads, they are just ridiculous. Like, they're expensive products no matter where you go in the world, right? America, England, anywhere, they're expensive. But in Brazil, God, they like to like double the price. It's ridiculous, and people don't have enough money to like buy iPads or iPhones at, like, you know, the reduced price that other countries have, let alone doubling it. So it's a bit insane. But yeah, gaming. I wouldn't say gaming is as big in Brazil, and I would like to see it get much bigger. As far as gaming does go in Brazil, it's you know, your typical sports games. Brazil's like football mad, so anything with football in it. So Pro Evo and FIFA, they're the big go-to games in Brazil. But yeah, there are some small-scale gaming events and things like that, but nothing like E3 or something like that. You know, nothing nowhere near as big as that. And I'd like to see that change.
Definitely. Well, moving on now then to the next topic, which is GDC. This year, it's just passed last week, and there's some pretty awesome games announced at it. We'd just like to talk about some of those. So what about you guys? Did you see any of the games from GDC?
I personally haven't seen any of the games at GDC just yet. I've been really busy, and I've only been able to read like small articles rather than watch, you know, big conference videos and things like that. But again, GDC was very VR focused from what I was able to gather from reading. There was a lot of VR discussions and things like that going on, which again, they're going fair play to them with the whole going back to the VR topic. They're not just going, oh, there's this cool kind of new way that you can kind of play games. You can try it if you want to or not. They're good. Like, the industry is going really all in to try and sell this and make it an actual staple point in gaming. It's not something like the Wii remote or something. It's like, oh yeah, cool, I can move stuff with my hands. It's like, no, this is going to revolutionize how you play games, and by making a huge portion of gaming events, you know, VR focus. I'm really impressed with how much they're going into it. So that's something, at least. That kind of helps me lean more to the whole, okay, this is something that's here to stay with gaming rather than something that's going to pass by in a couple of years that people are like, oh yeah, I can't believe I bought that VR headset for that much money, ha ha ha, and it becomes a running joke. I actually feel like it may be here to stay, which is great. But from the games that I saw in GDC, I kind of saw what won what awards rather than what was announced.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch everything from GDC. There's games like The Division to play, so I was doing that. But the stuff I did see, like I watched a little bit of the IGN coverage, and like there was this demo that Marty was playing, Marty Sleva. It was a paranormal activity demo, and watching him freak out.
That's VR, right?
Yeah, he did a VR headset paranormal activity.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And he literally almost dropped the controllers and stuff like that. I thought that was really silly.
Yeah.
Other than that, there was obviously a lot of really cool indie games that came out of GDC, like almost every year. They showed off a bunch of really neat indie games like Katana Zero that I know Jay wanted to give us a shout out on that game. And there was other games that didn't look as great, like I believe it was called Cannon Shot or something like that, that just crashed on them multiple times while they were trying to show off the game. But I don't know, GDC, it's in the name, it's the Game Developers Conference, so it's more about game devs getting together and talk about their games and show it off, and so besides like you said, it was very VR focused. Besides the huge amount of VR stuff, I didn't really see anything that made me go, ooh, I want to look at that more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you were saying about the game crashing as well. What I think though with GDC, I kind of feel like that's an excuse to do that because these are developers, small developers showing games.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, showing games that are very early in their development, and that's a place where they can just come and all get together and show what they're working on. So it's obviously a lot less E3 and things like that where
I think it's more about concept, isn't it, and idea sharing rather than oh, this is our awesome game. If they presented that game at say E3 and it did that kind of stuff, then the people would be like, whoa, this is a big deal. It would probably get more publicity, negative publicity, than it would have just got if it worked fine. In terms of I don't know, say it worked fine, people just go, oh yeah, I heard about that game. But because it didn't work fine, everyone's talking about it. Oh yeah, it's that game that crashed, so it instantly gets recognized.
Yeah, definitely, and that's why GDC is kind of that kind of conference where all these developers, like you said, share ideas. So it's a safe place where they can come if their game crashes, no one cares because they all understand they're in the same position.
I believe The Witcher 3 won Game of the Year award for GDC. I think. What was both of your game of the years for 2015?
Mine was Metal Gear Solid 5.
Metal Gear Solid 5, really?
Yeah, I love that game so much.
And what's yours, Brian?
Mine was The Witcher 3, honestly,
really?
with Metal Gear Solid 5 being the closest second. I am a huge Metal Gear
one of those two, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm a huge Metal Gear nerd. But The Witcher 3 was just so freaking good. I can't negate the fact that The Witcher 3 was just such a fucking better game to me.
Did you play the previous two?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, that's something that I've noticed a lot is that Witcher 3, despite being 3 and it's got a lot of lore and a backstory to it, a lot of people just got introduced to Witcher with 3, and it did surprisingly well with a whole new audience rather than returning fans, which I thought was crazy. I think MGS5 might have done the same thing. I think it might have brought a lot of people on the whole MGS train. Then, oh yeah, I've heard about that game, it's stealth and stuff, but 5 kind of brought them in to play it rather than them playing it since 1 or 4.
Which is such a weird thing when you think about it, because this is going to probably be the last really good Metal Gear game. you know, with Hideo Kojima.
Yeah,
You know,
it's the
I'm
last
sure
one.
Konami is going to try really hard to make another Metal Gear game.
Oh yeah, they're already in talks for finding a dev team for the next Metal Gear, which is just like okay.
The thing is,
But,
though, I couldn't imagine any big developer wanting to do that now.
well,
Like, everyone's against Konami. They get
Yeah,
booed.
they dropped the ball there, didn't they? Whatever it is they did, they dropped the PR ball like crazy, and they just became enemy number one in gaming industry. Even more so than EA. So, like that EA was the holder of that title. I think Konami stole it from them this year.
Yeah, they really did. They'll need to offer some huge amount of money to get people to develop that game.
Well, I think it doesn't help that Konami has transitioned into more. I think they've transitioned from AAA game development to arcade games, arcade like gambling games now, like casino games.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So that's Metal Gear Solid 6 Pachinko.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 6. Yeah, the gambling.
Can't wait
game.
for that pachinko machine, Metal Gear 6. There you go.
Oh God, Konami, what have you done? But yeah. Oh well.
Brian, did you see Axiom Verge?
I
GDC?
didn't get to see it at GDC. No, were they
They-
having it run on a Vita?
Yeah, they had it running on Vita, so they did. If you don't know, Lee, we're big fans of the PlayStation Vita.
Really? Oh, this thing that I don't ever play. No, I'm kidding. I play Persona 4 on it all the time. And Tokiden, yes, Tokiden, and a load of PS1 emulated games.
Yeah,
Nice.
so they had Axiom Verge running on the Vita anyway, and the game's running from start to finish now, but they're just fixing a few bugs in that so that they can get it released. I can't remember if they said a date, but it should be soon anyway. They're just finishing it up. It's fantastic.
I do wish the Vita blew up more than it did, you know, in terms of popularity and success. It really felt like that was a great transition, a great way of making handheld gaming seem viable in terms of a AAA kind of standard. You know, when I think 3DS, I do kind of think a little bit gimmicky. I turn on the 3D slider, I'm just like, why? And I just turn it back off instantly, and then play the game with sharp graphics. But with the PS Vita, I actually felt like this was a strong contender for kind of easing people from that console experience, going, oh, you can still have the same level of quality, like Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 HD. Those were amazing Vita games.
Oh yeah.
But with a handheld. But unfortunately, people just, I don't know if it was the price point or what, but because it was an expensive handheld, but people just didn't seem to buy it.
Yeah, it was probably the memory cards as well. They're
Yeah,
really expensive.
that did suck. That was a real. I think people see greed eat like instantly. As soon as something looks greedy, people just go no. And yeah, the whole memory card thing was just a bit stupid. I mean, I did it because it was a necessity. I wanted to play Metal Gear Solid at like great quality on a hand, like on the go. But yeah, that doesn't mean I was happy about the whole memory card thing.
Yeah, that was one of the things that put me off for a while. And even though I only have an 8 GB memory.
Yeah, I have like a bare minimal one as well, so
Yeah.
it's like I'm constantly deleting games and having to re-download ones to, like, you know, managing my space and stuff, which just sucks.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do as well. I only have 2 or 3 games installed at a time.
Yeah.
So but it works
Yeah,
anyway.
I,
So
I got a 32 gigabyte one. I was like, you know what, screw it. Like,
Yeah.
I really love this handheld, you know, and I download games on it constantly. I still come through the problem where I gotta delete games to download other ones.
Yeah.
Because there's some
Yeah.
games that I just refuse to delete, you know, and I'm like, I know I'm gonna get back to this game, you know,
Yeah.
so yeah, but I think the Vita is a really awesome handheld that just didn't get enough devs behind it to make great games
that's the
for
thing
it.
as well,
you know?
isn't it? Just didn't get enough dev support. So yeah, I totally agree. Again, if they did, but then again, as a developer, from a business standpoint, would it really have been viable to go like, yeah, let's support this?
it's that cycle.
This machine that's not really working out too well in terms of, you know, people actually buying it. Do we want to make a game for it then? Because we know,
Yeah.
and not a lot of people have the system, so we just know for a fact that this game isn't going to sell well.
It's like a
Yeah.
cycle. So it's not selling, so developers don't want to make anything for it,
Well,
and
look
then
at
no
the
one wants
Wii
to
U.
buy it
Same
because there's
thing.
no games.
Yeah, it's the same thing with the Wii U, and that's why Nintendo was so eager to talk about their next console, which I'm pretty sure is going to be happening this E3.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they said I think they were going to talk because the time they announced it, they said they weren't going to say anything until E3.
Yeah. I mean that's how early it's like how soon it's been since the Wii U, and that's mainly because the Wii U is just crashing. It's crashing hard. No, everyone's looking to like all these big releases coming out. It's coming out for PC, PS4, Xbox One. Nothing to do with a Wii U. I mean, all the big games that are coming out as of for the past couple of years. I mean, the Wii U hasn't seen hardly any of them, if any.
Yeah, and even their exclusives like Zelda, they're clearly holding off until the NX is released. So even
Yeah,
they don't want to release their games on it.
yeah. I hope Nintendo turn around and kind of rethink their whole business model and where they're going with the game industry because I want them to succeed. I'm not a big fan of Nintendo, but because their games just don't appeal to me really. But I still want them to succeed. But the way they're going right now, it's just I feel like they're holding their IPs too close to their chest to the point they're not even going to put them out there for people to experience them. It's strange. Like, how long has the Wii U been out for now, and how long has it been since? I mean, the whole Zelda Wii U version game still hasn't released yet. It's crazy, and now they're already talking about their next console. It's like, what?
yeah, and they haven't made it like a really cool 3D Mario or anything really. I mean,
No,
like,
that's the problem. There's just no reason to have the console. I actually got the console as a bundle to play Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate with, and I didn't get a single game after that. Ended up getting rid of the console. I literally did not use it. And then I just got the 3 Ultimate for the 3DS instead. So yeah,
right.
such a shame.
And a few
Okay,
other games. Sorry?
Oh, I was just gonna say we kind of went off on a tangent there.
Yes.
Yeah, I was bringing us back in, don't worry. So, another game Tom Hap has is Chasm, which looks pretty awesome. It's a little procedurally generated, or like a Metroidvania, but this one's more in the style of Castlevania rather than how Action Verge is more like Metroid. And that looks really cool. Each time you play it, it's procedurally generated, so it's different. And that was a game that was really interesting. I've seen a bit of Alien Nation, Housemarque's new game, the guys who made Dead Nation. And there was a few others. I've seen a bit of Dreams by Media Molecule, and they showed off quite a bit of that, and it looks really impressive.
Oh, is that their new game? Since because they've been talking about that for ages. I think I saw like some concept art or some imagery that they were teasing the game with, and I was like, "What is this?" I'm even looking at. I had no idea what kind of genre is this? How's it going to play? Like, what is this game? But yeah, I haven't actually seen anything on it. So have they actually shown some footage for that game now?
So they're still focusing a lot on the creation tools and not so much of the gameplay, but they've shown a lot of what you can do. Like before, any demos that I've seen were really weird looking, like this kind of artistic style of world, and it was really strange. But they've shown, like, there was parts where they were in a forest and you're playing as a bear, and then they would walk to the next part and you're like this little spirit that goes into these creatures and you take control of them. So they were the bear, they walked along, and then the next part there was like a mech, and the entire environment looked completely different. And
Right.
they were able to go out of the bear and into that, and it was as if they were playing a whole new game. And it's exciting because I can't wait to see what happens when the game's released and the types of things that people make for it.
So is it more about like it's a game where we give like all of these tools to build a level and build a kind of genre, and then it's down to the community to kind of make that content and share it with people, kind of like Little Big Planet.
Yeah, they've said this is kind of like their spiritual successor to Little Big Planet.
Got it.
But they are going to have like a story or campaign as well in there that they're now focused on. The main thing they were doing this whole time though was their creation tools. So
Right.
they have that set up now. It does look really good. I can't wait to see what well,
No,
one
they're
failed.
solid. The Media Molecule's solid when it comes to building that kind of game. I was never disappointed with any of the Little Big Planet games that I've played. I always had a lot of fun with them. And yeah, the beauty of that is that you kind of don't limit all of those resources just to the minds of the developers. They put it out there, and then anyone can make whatever they want. And I ended up playing horror games like horror levels on Little Big Planet that were legit scary. Like I legit was like, oh my god, freaking out all the time. And yeah, so I'm pretty excited for if they're going to kind of do that, but even more advanced, where the possibilities to create like even different kind of genres, so FPSs and not just platformers. Like Little Big Planet was mainly platformers in terms of levels. There was some like arcadey kind of shooters, and racing games and stuff. But I'd like to see the creativity with the tools that kind of really change how you play a level rather than feeling familiar.
Yeah. So you can play it with the PlayStation Move or the controllers, and it's in VR as well. So
Okay.
they're trying to cover every way.
Yeah, they're going all in with the whole interactivity. You should be having a rave in your bedroom, like, what's going on?
Especially though with the Media Molecules, Sony are probably making for everything.
Yeah.
You got to do Move, VR, iToy, all of it.
iToy, oh god. I remember that thing for the PS2.
Did you see any of it, Brian?
Yeah, I saw the Dreams demo, and it does look really cool. I'm excited for it more to play what other people's creations are, because
Yes.
I'm not really that creative of a person to sit down and spend a whole day creating something and trying to tweak it and look like that. No, I'll probably be the guy who jumps in and plays other people's levels and go, oh, that was good, or oh, this game, not really that great. But I'm interested in seeing like what people do with it. Like, imagine somebody creating like a PT-like game inside of Dreams or something like that.
Exactly, that's what I'd love to see. That kind of, instead of it just being the little sack boy jumping on platforms and opening doors and stuff, I'd like to say, okay, so that's one kind of level. You can have the traditional platformer kind of feel, but then you can have like this first-person horror kind of feel or something. Like, whoa, this is all the same game as well. This is crazy. That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah,
Their next
or even
game.
imagine somebody creating like and I don't know if this is even possible in the game or not, but like a old school top-down Metal Gear game, or something like that. That'd be freaking sweet, like.
Yeah, that would be really awesome.
Yeah.
No, even like user-created card games or something, just anything. If you can think of something, you can do it. If there's a game that kind of does that, that would be amazing.
Yeah, and what I think they should do, hopefully this is what they do, but when the game launches, people will figure out what they can do quickly, and then update them, and then they could provide updates to it, like a platform, and constantly keep changing things. If people request certain things in the game, they'll be able to add that in as bonus content in the future, as long as they don't charge for it.
Yes.
But that's what I'd like to see. So I think they done like Nintendo with Mario Maker. I don't have it, but I think they've done those kind of things. Like they've added in checkpoints and that the community wanted. So I'd assume Media Molecule would do something similar.
No, I have no idea. I'd hope so.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's GDC. Unless you guys have anything else you want to add?
Other than, I think I saw the winner of the Indie Game Award for GDC. I think it was Her Story. I've actually played that game and I actually loved it. I don't know if any of you guys have played Her Story, but it kind of took me back to that old kind of PC gaming where I'd have like a piece of paper and I'd actually writing stuff down. I'd be referencing it constantly. I haven't done that since I played like Morrowind back in 2002 or something. So I really enjoyed. I think that indie game definitely deserved that award. So I would love to see more games like that as well. I really felt not few. I mean, I completed LA Noire and stuff, other detective games and stuff where you have to figure out, who did it, which is basically what Her Story is. But none made me feel like I was really actually there, jotting everything, literally jotting all of these pieces of evidence together to come up with this picture. Which just ends up being an incomprehensible mess of notes on a two-sided A4 sheet. But yeah, I really enjoyed Her Story. That was a very well deserved Indie Game of the Year award.
Did Rocket League win anything?
Huh?
Did Rocket League win anything?
I don't know. I'm actually surprised that didn't win, because everyone like jumped on Rocket League like seemingly out of nowhere. This game came out of nowhere. Rocket League, it's football with cars. It doesn't sound too like, oh, okay, that sounds.
It's so fun though, man. It's so
it is.
fun.
I played it. It is. It's a ton of fun, and you'd be like, oh, man, I guess I'll play like Rocket League to kill this half an hour or something until I have to do this thing, and you end up like, oh snap, I'm late. You end up just playing game after game because even though the games aren't too long to the point where it's exhausting, you're just like, oh, I'm burnt out. And it's just short enough where you just don't feel like you had enough, so you want to go in for another game. So yeah, they got like a real good replay formula going there.
Yeah, it's just that one more game mentality.
Yes, it's just
one more
time.
It's only 5 minutes.
Yeah.
2 hours
It's
later.
5 a.m. Yeah.
Still playing. Yeah. So Brian, do you want to do your topic next?
Sure, we'll do that. My topic is, well, we have somebody in our team who's actually training to become a game dev. Steven is right here. He's at school right now. And we're all fans of games, obviously. And I was really wondering what everybody, like, in a perfect world, what kind of job, whether it be development, the journalism side, writing, what kind of job would you guys really want to do in the gaming industry? I guess I can go first. I really think I would enjoy promotion and like kind of community management in games, because I have this kind of addictive quality to where like when I find a game I really love, I just like will talk nothing about that game, everything about that game, and we'll like try to force other people to play that game, So
Right.
I feel like these guys will tell you I've not stopped talking about Persona 4 Golden ever since I ever since I beat it, which is pretty cool that you're here, because whenever Steven was telling us that you were coming on, I checked out your channel. Oh, you just started playing Persona 4.
Yeah, that's right. I did. Yeah, having a blast with it. So, would you like to be that guy that goes on stage at E3 and you like to talk about this game and stuff, and what you can do, what you can't do, like all the awesome possibilities? Would you like to do that, or would you be like more kind of, I don't know, talking to the fans through like forums and social media, that kind of thing?
I think I could do both. I'm not really like scared of crowds that much, So I think I could be that guy that goes on stage and talks about a game.
Nice.
But I could also be that guy that's on Twitter constantly, replying to people's stuff and creating a community around a game that's not out yet, and getting people hyped about it, stuff like that. I think I could do something like that pretty well. And I'd also like to write a game. Like, I'd like to write the story of a game. I love writing. A lot of the stuff I write, I usually don't put out, And currently, right now, I am, writing a screenplay, and I want to put that out. But I'd also like to, do something like write a game, It's in my opinion, it's a pretty funny screenplay, for a movie. To boil it down in its simplest form, it's about a guy who him and his girlfriend break up, and he's an alcoholic, and all of his buddies are an alcoholic.
Great stuff.
And his alcoholic buddies try to cheer him up and take him out on this trip, and a bunch of funny stuff just happens, And then he meets this new girl, and stuff starts happening there. I don't want to give it all away, but
Okay. Well, no, that sounds awesome, man.
Yeah, but I think I could write a pretty funny video game, or just.
Oh, would you like to? So, if you were to write a video game, would you want it to be like a comedy kind of video game, with a lot of humor?
I think I could do. I'd like some action in there, but like, it'd be pretty fun to write a game that's sort of like the South Park Stick of Truth.
Right. Okay.
Just have like hilarious moments in it.
Right. I got you.
Yeah, I think that would be cool.
Well, me personally, I would absolutely love, I would jump at the opportunity to be a voice actor in video games. I discovered a love for voice acting with games like Metal Gear Solid. I think that was one of the first games that I played Metal Gear Solid 1 for the PS1. And I was playing the game, and I was starting to forget that these characters were characters in a video game. I started to care about these characters. I started to take an interest in their personality and their history and what they might think of this situation that we're having to deal with right now. And ever since then, I kind of started to pay more attention to voice acting, not just in video games, but also in animation, like cartoons or CGI movies, that kind of thing, and just really listen to the voice and kind of break it down and try and figure out what kind of makes a voice actor good, I suppose, and what makes a character believable when you're not in front of a camera and you're not dressed in a costume. All you've got is just your understanding of a character breakdown on a script and your voice, and then you've got to try and bring that character to life. But then from there I went on to looking at motion capture and behind the scenes kind of the making of videos of video games and stuff, and seeing the voice actors in their studios and on the mocap stage and stuff, and I just fell in love with it completely. And ever since then I've been trying to just kind of test the waters with being involved in voicing projects and stuff, and I've actually gone on to do a couple of indie games and looking to do more, and I'm actually auditioning for a pretty big mod for Skyrim that completely remakes the whole of Morrowind, which is one of my favorite games. So yeah, I'm kind of trying to break into it, but yeah, I have a huge respect, a huge love for just voice acting in general, but mainly specifically for video games. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've listened to the audition you had up
on
Twitter. It was really good. Like, I obviously only hear you on YouTube and that, so I was wondering what you'd be like doing the voices, and that was really good. Is the Dark Elf, is it?
The Dark Elf, yes, the done.
Yeah, and that's awesome. It doesn't even sound like you. It sounds really well done.
If anyone's played Morrowind and they've heard like the Dark Elf speak, they have like even more grittier voice than Solid Snake or something like that. So when people hear my voice, it's very light and jumpy and things like that. So it's the complete opposite. But I fell in love. The Dark Elf voice, I think his name was Jeff Baker, the voice actor behind him. That was one of the first voices along with the characters in Metal Gear Solid that made me go, wow, I actually felt that. I felt that in that voice performance. Before that I played Resident Evil a lot, and that series isn't really known for its stellar voice work or anything like that. Yeah. So you took it or leave it. You made a joke about it, and then you're like, oh, this voice acting's terrible. But it wasn't until I came across certain characters in certain games like that made me go, whoa, this can actually be, an actual legitimate thing. This is not just, some phoned in, Jill sandwich, and then put the phone down. It's actually, something that people care about, and people actually take seriously, and it's on the same level as, real acting on a TV or in the movies, anything like that. So, yeah, I was really excited and about getting the opportunity to try and do the Dark Elf voice. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I get into it.
Yeah, good luck. I hope you do get it, man. You mentioned Metal Gear and voice acting, so I got to bring this up. How did you like Kiefer Sutherland's performance in MGS5?
Kiefer Sutherland's voice. Oh god, I don't know. Okay, so I got Ground Zeroes a day before Ground Zeroes release, so I was like, oh my god, finally, Metal Gear Solid 5. We're gonna get into this, and we're gonna start figuring out all of this cryptic and nonsensical kind of teasers and hints that have come our way through tweets or trailers, that kind of thing, and the whole controversial Kiefer Sutherland is now Snake. Because there was the whole, I'm not going to spoil anything from Metal Gear Solid 5 or anything like that, but there was a lot of theories as to why his voice changed. And so I was like, okay, so because of that, at first, when the first Ground Zeroes trailer released, it was in Japanese, where it was the intro of Snake climbing up a mountain and starting his infiltration to Camp Omega in Ground Zeroes. It was all in Japanese because I guess they were still doing the voice work for the English version. So I was like, okay, I've never played the Japanese version of Metal Gear Solid, who they did actually keep the original voice actress Snake for Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pain. But then it was like, oh, Kiefer Sutherland is going to be... At first, I had no idea who Kiefer Sutherland was. I never watched 24. Yeah, I did. I did watch 24. So they were like, oh, Kiefer Sutherland's going to be Snake. And I'm like, excuse me, what? You know, David Hayter is Snake. So I was a little bit not accepting of this at first. And then I heard his voice, and I was just kind of like, I'm not hearing it. I'm not hearing Snake at all. So I was like, okay, I don't want to be like, you know, one of the thousands who then storm the internets and go, this is stupid, change it. You know, I wanted to give Kiefer Sutherland a chance, so I ended up watching nearly the entire show of 24, which is absolutely mental. I did end up liking Kiefer Sutherland because I liked his Jack Bauer. His Jack Bauer was awesome.
His Jack Bauer's on point, yeah.
Yeah, I do love me some Where's the Bomb Chloe. But when it comes to, you know, him being Snake, I was just kind of like, I'm not hearing it. We only had like a few voice dialogue in Ground Zero, so I was just kind of like, okay, that's not a lot for me to kind of, you know, critique or judge, but at the same time I got no Snake whatsoever from that, from simply from the words he was saying, from the style he was saying it, or just his behavior. It just wasn't Snake to me. And that kind of got exaggerated even more, or reinforced further, sorry, in the Phantom Pain. I don't think he's a bad voice actor. I just don't know if he was right. It makes sense why Kiefer Sutherland voices him. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I just don't think he's Snake. You know?
Well, I mean, it kind of doesn't, though, because, you know, I won't spoil anything.
The ending doesn't make sense still.
The character, the character, there's two different characters, you know, and he plays both of them, you know.
Exactly.
So,
that's one thing
so
that
in a way,
make
it doesn't
sense,
make sense, you know,
no.
but...
Yeah.
It makes sense he plays one character. It doesn't make sense he plays another.
Yeah, but in a way, like, my own personal opinion, I do like Kiefer Sutherland in 24,
Yeah.
and I actually kind of, in some ways, preferred him in Metal Gear Solid 5.
Really?
There was a few parts in that game where I was like, if David Hayter said that line the way that David Hayter says that line, it wouldn't have landed the same way. You know,
I do agree with that. I gotta admit, much love to David Hayter. He is and always will be Snake. However, with every Metal Gear Solid that's come since he's been involved with the project, Snake's voice has changed. It changed radically from 1 to 2. It changed in a more understandable sense from 2 to 3. 4, I really loved his voice in 4. It just fit the kind of character. But Peace Walker, which was his latest rendition of Snake, it went full Batman at times. I'm talking like over the top, like growling and shit. And I'm just like, okay, that was a bit too much for me. So yeah, sometimes I just go, whoa, David, what was that? You're not Batman. Take off the mask. But so that kind of leads me to think, would he have kept up that style of voice acting, of voicing Snake for the Phantom Pain? So that kind of leads me to think, maybe it was a good idea to bring on Kiefer instead.
Yeah.
But, it was a hard transition to make as a fan.
Yeah, one of the lines that I think would have sounded completely weird if I would have heard it in David Hayter's voice is the whole, I won't scatter your ashes to the heartless sea. I will always be with you. I thought Kiefer Sutherland nailed that line.
Yeah, because
David Hayter's voice came out of his mouth when he was saying that, and it would have been his growly voice. I won't scatter your ashes. And I would have been like, what the fuck? You know, like I would have.
Yes. So yeah, Snake does one of the things that makes Snake's voice great is that it's so iconic, right? You recognize it easily because it's got that over the top grittiness to it. But at the same time, it's over the top. It's not a believable voice. If someone legit spoke to you in Snake voice, and when you met them, you'd be like, "Whoa, what's with that, man? What happened to you?" Yeah, it's just like, okay, dude, is that your real voice? It's like, so yeah, when it comes to those more kind of realistic and really trying to put that sense of emotion, and there's a lot of subtlety in Snake's performance in Phantom Pain, and if there's anything about Snake's voice in the previous Metal Gears, there's nothing subtle about it. It's over the top. It's there. It's the complete dominant sound that you're hearing. But Snake, you've got the music in the background. You've got the ambience of the wind on Mother Base and everything, and you're taking in just all of these little subtle cues that build up emotion. You wouldn't want that broken up by the over the top gravelly Batman voice saying something very quietly, pretty much kind of like saying it to himself in a hushed voice. I don't think that would sound good with the Snake voice. So yeah, I do agree that Kiefer Sutherland nailed a lot of the voice work. It was just hard for me to go into Snake mode with who I was seeing, who I was playing with. I'm just like, this isn't Snake. I want Snake. So yeah, I completely agree on both sides. But ultimately, I do think it was a good idea to go with Kiefer Sutherland because it's a very different game in terms of presentation, in terms of feel, vibe. Everything's practically different. So yeah, and it does, to a point, make sense that there's a different voice actor. So yeah, I'm on board with the whole Kiefer thing. It took me a long time to get there, but I'm there.
Do you think the issue could be as well? You're a big fan of Metal Gear, so you're playing these games all these years.
Yes, complete bias, complete fanboy. I love Snake bias.
No, but what I mean is like you're used to this character, and you know what his voice is like. It'd be like having a friend that just shows up one day and they sound completely different. You're like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah, completely. Yeah, there is that. I mean, again, if you're playing, like we said before, how The Witcher 3 brought on players that have never played 1 or 2. Metal Gear Solid 5, I know for a fact, certainly brought on players who had never played the previous Metal Gears. So they would have played and they would have not noticed anything because they don't know Snake, they don't know David Hayter. They just, they know of the name Metal Gear Solid as a stealth series. So yeah, they would have gone on to that and just been like, oh yeah, this is awesome. But for me, I've been with Metal Gear since Metal Gear Solid 1, and I was just kind of like, yeah, this is hard for me to kind of really embrace. I can understand it, but I'm having a hard time as a fan going like, because we waited so long since 4 and Peace Walker 4 for 5 that I was really looking for it to kind of be like the Metal Gear. To me, Metal Gear Solid 5 is not the Metal Gear, unfortunately. It's just not. Yeah, so when Kiefer Sutherland came on board, I was just kind of like, this is kind of breaking my expectations in a negative way for the game. But
I agree as well. It's not the Metal Gear game, but it is a pretty goddamn addicting game.
It's a really great stealth game. It's probably the best stealth game out there, period, in terms of the history of stealth games.
I went out of my way to platinum that game. So
I still keep getting I have a load of issues with Metal Gear Solid 5, so I kind of get a little bit salty when I'm playing the game. Just kind of like, I can't keep playing. This just hurts too much. So I want to 100% it. 100% to Ground Zeroes for the PS3, for the PC, almost did for the PS4. But I'm trying with the Phantom Pain, but I literally have to deal with this kind of like I don't know, all these problems I have with the game. So yeah, I'll get there eventually. But yeah, Metal Gear Solid 5 is not the definitive ultimate Metal Gear for me.
Yeah, I'm the same. The story was the issue. I'm used to a good story, and I just didn't get that, I feel, from Metal Gear Solid 5. But the gameplay, like you said, it's the best stealth game.
Gameplay-wise, it's definitely the best Metal Gear. Gameplay-wise, it is ultimately the best Metal Gear. But in terms of, the Metal Gear lore and the story and the characters, I was just kind of like, wah, on all counts. So I was just kind of, I was to say I was disappointed at some points when I think about it. I kind of have this weird juggling act with try and convince myself that no, it's meant to be like this because. But then a part of me is just like, oh, you're just making excuses because you want to like the game. This game is just not Metal Gear. So yeah, times I go, I'm literally jaw dropped. I cannot believe this was Metal Gear Solid 5. What? So yeah, sometimes I'm okay, but sometimes I'm just devastated by it.
So, I kind of have two down for my, back to the topic that we were discussing.
Yes, topic, sorry.
Is, so the job that I'm currently studying for, I'm studying computer games development at uni, and I'm going to try and become a gameplay programmer. So this is the boring one now. But,
the
so
coding and stuff? Ooh.
Yeah, so programming is what I want to do. So a gameplay programmer specifically, which is kind of the jack of all trades, if you use that phrase, of a programmer. So you work on a bit of everything for the feel of the game and how it plays. But the dream would be to be like an indie developer and develop my own games instead of just working for a company. I would love to be able to just make games that I want to make and let others play them, knowing that this is something that was my work, you know, so you can claim it as your own, basically, not just to be some name in the credits that no one ever cares about.
Right. That's one thing Metal Gear Solid 5 made abundantly clear, is that this game is by Hideo Kojima. Every time you did a mission, you saw his name at least 3 times.
I think that was more of a FU to Konami. It's like, oh,
maybe.
Well, I'm going to put my name all over this game.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, in terms of actually creating the game, I've always thought, like, I have huge respect for that, because obviously without that talent, without that skill, we wouldn't have games. It's as simple as that. But when I go and look at it and I'm like, is that something that I would like to do? I just like, oh man, all that bug fixing and trying to, all that, just like having to figure out what's wrong with the code now or something like that. I'd go absolutely insane trying to figure that out. So I don't know if I'd be able to do actually programming, you know, making the game like from the ground up. That would be I have a lot of respect for people who actually do that, because when I look at it, I'm just like, nope, I ain't touching that. That's too much for me. I'll just put some voices on the characters you make.
Yeah, it is. It's a very stressful job. There's no doubt there.
It totally looks like it, man.
But it's just something I've always wanted to do. You understand that? But
was there a moment in your life, or kind of like an experience, a game maybe, that kind of made you go, that's what I want to do? This game or this moment in my life made me want to be a actual programmer for games.
Well, I've wanted to do it now for a very long time. I'd say if I was to pick a point, it'd probably playing a game like Uncharted, which is my favorite game series.
Oh, it's an amazing game series. Are you excited for 4?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, me too.
It just needs to hurry up and come out already, man. Quit delaying it and come out already.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's went gold now, so they're going to start.
Yeah, it's actually done.
And no more delays, thankfully.
Yeah, but I think the first time I read that there was a delay was because they wanted to do something special for the ending to kind of like, you know, wrap it all up. So that kind of got my attention. I was like, oh, what are they going to do to kind of like, you know, say the end for Uncharted? So that's something I'm kind of like racking my brain about trying to figure out. So I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, there's no doubt it's going to be great coming from Naughty Dog.
Talk about pushing the bar, those guys.
Their last excuse for delaying it, I just feel was a lie. They said that they were having issues with printing enough copies, and
I read that as well. It's like, yeah, we just can't get enough of these games out there, man. It's like, really? That's why you're gonna delay the game?
Well, I don't think that was true. I think they probably had some other issues, and they were using it as just their.
Yeah, that could well be it.
Did the auto go all weird there?
So what was it that? So you started playing Uncharted, and you kind of went, "Oh, this is what I want to do." Was there a thing about Uncharted that no other game had that kind of made you go, "Oh, this is it. This is my thing now"?
Well, what I would say is because it's the first game. So let me see how to phrase this. Whenever I first played Uncharted 1, Drake's Fortune, there was no game like that at the time. Yeah. Whenever it came out, and I remember just putting that game in. I've talked about it before in the show. It was just that experience of I never even heard of the Uncharted. Whenever I got it, it was in the bundle with my PlayStation 3, and just plugging that game in and seeing how beautiful the world looked, how smoothly the gameplay went. It's probably not anymore if you went back to play that game.
Have you played the remastered version, the PS4 re-release, the Drake Collection, I believe it's called?
I have it, but I haven't got around to playing it yet.
Yeah, it's fine, man. It plays very well.
Again,
was Uncharted a launch title for PS3?
I think it came out near launch, but I don't think it was a launch title.
Ah, man, because I was going to say, in terms of launch title history, I mean, if Uncharted was a launch title, then wow, talk about high standards for launch titles. Because when a game console comes out and all of its launch titles come out with it, it's kind of like, they're more or less just mwah. You know, the game developers haven't really kind of harnessed or fully understood the technology, the capabilities of the console or anything like that. And so you kind of get like an okay game, you know, but Uncharted 1 was really good. So, yeah.
And that was their okay game whenever you look at 2 and 3.
Oh, man,
which is
2.
Crazy, the difference.
Yeah, I'm hoping for 2 feels again with 4, because 3, I enjoyed some of the pieces of 3, like some of the events that happened in 3, but ultimately I kind of just felt like, I don't know, 2 blew me away a heck of a lot more than 3 did. So I'm hoping for 4 to kind of, you know, like, wow, go all out and recapture that magic again.
I think it will. Have you seen the gameplay for it?
I have seen some of it, yes, and I was kind of like, oh, wow, okay, this looks pretty fun.
Yeah, it really does. It looks fantastic. I can't wait to see the story side to it, though, especially with Nate and his brother. Sam, is it?
Yeah.
Sam, yeah.
That's going to be interesting, especially with how the story goes with the writers of The Last of Us working on it now. It's going to be...
Yeah. At first when I heard that, the writer transition, I was kind of like, we're kind of not going to have, you know, as humorous Nathan Drake. He's going to be, you know, serious and suffering Joel or something like that. But now that I'm looking at it, I'm just kind of like, okay, yeah, I'm actually really enjoying kind of the writing of this game. That's not to say that I didn't like The Last of Us. I think The Last of Us is one of the best games ever made. But
it's not the same. It's different worlds. So
yeah, exactly. I was worried that the writers were going to try and bring too much of that serious, you know, emotional roller coaster kind of experience into Uncharted, where that's not really what the game's about. The game's about crazy adventures and narrow escapes and, you know, witty, light-hearted Drake and stuff. I do definitely get a lot more of a serious vibe from 4 compared to the previous games, but I think that's to be expected because this is the end of, you know.
Yeah, that's what they're setting it up to make you know this is the last adventure for Nate. Going back to the voice acting topic, with Nate, I feel a lot of his humor comes through because of Nolan North.
Nolan North is like the king of voice acting. He is like, if there's anyone that you should look up when it comes to, you know, who to be inspired by for voice acting, Nolan North is like the man. I mean, I know a lot of people like, you know, Troy Baker is, Troy Baker is absolutely amazing, but there's something about Nolan that I'm just kind of like, oh no, I look at him and I'm just like, wow, that's someone who can just he's a complete chameleon. He can completely change. Yeah. I mean, with Troy, I kind of get a little bit of Troy in every experience, character he plays as. I get a little bit of Troy. But there are times where I've listened to Nolan North. So in The Last of Us, when he played David, I believe. I actually did not know that was Nolan North. I was like, what? That's Nolan North? Are you kidding me? I had to kind of look at that and kind of like, wow, I can't believe. I was wondering whether or not he was going to be in the game because, you know, he's such a big contributor to the characters in Uncharted with Nathan Drake. I was wondering if they were going to bring him on board as a cameo for The Last of Us, and they did. I just didn't recognize until I had to look up, is Nolan North in The Last of Us? Yeah, he's David. I was like, what?
You have them both again now, Uncharted 4.
Yeah. So they got all of the, you know, the AAA, if you can call them that, the best
in video games anyway.
Yeah, the AAA video game voice actors for Uncharted 4. So me as like someone who really appreciates this element of video game making. I'm going to be looking at all of this and just like, wow, it's going to be amazing.
It's going to be good.
Oh,
Definitely
yes.
will. But I think I would attribute Uncharted to being why I wanted to get into games. And yeah, just the experience I had from that, it was one of the best games I've ever played, easily.
Mm. Yeah, so is there something about Uncharted? Because when I think about Uncharted, I think of it as the game that kind of blended that cinematic feel with, you know, action gameplay. It wasn't like, I don't know, it wasn't like, oh, do something and then watch a cutscene and then do something, watch a cutscene. It was kind of like someone could watch you playing this game and they'd be having a fun like as if they were actually in a cinema watching a movie, like, whoa, this is crazy, and like, you know, jumping off all these collapsing buildings and stuff, and all this really well acted scenes and everything that are ongoing as you're playing the game. I felt Uncharted was that, for me, the first game that blended those kind of watching a great action-packed movie and playing a great action-packed game. They kind of blended the two seamlessly really well for me. So I kind of think that's what separated Uncharted from other action-adventure games, like, say, I don't know, say Tomb Raider, for example. It doesn't quite do that for me, whereas Uncharted really does. I really feel like I'm on this grand, epic, you know, all-out adventure with Uncharted.
Yeah, so what it probably is just the whole package together. Like, you know, obviously if you look back at the PlayStation 2, there's no games that would have even been able to do what Uncharted had done. And then I look at developers like Naughty Dog, and I just have so much respect for what they've created. And this probably leads into our next topic as well, but it's just the game as a whole. You just go, like, you have so much respect for them and what they've made that you just want to go out and do that for yourself. And obviously, if I want to be an indie developer, I'm not going to be making Uncharted, but I'll be able to make my own experiences.
You never know, man. You never know what. I mean, game developers are constantly releasing, you know, oh, here's this engine that indie developers can work with now and stuff like that. So they're kind of given some of the assets that they actually use for AAA development that indie developers are using to make their own games. So you never know. I hope indie development grows into a bigger. I mean, technically, do you guys know Ninja Theory, the guys behind like DMC or Enslaved? They're making a new game called Hellblade, and that's pure indie. Like, I mean, they've done AAA work. So this is to say they've gone from that to do indie work. It's kind of, well, it's not quite the same as three people getting together and making their own indie game. But yeah, they're coming up with all this innovative way to make really cheap, like, but still completely, you know, AAA standard motion capturing. I think they put like these dots, like these cameras into like a plant pot or something, and they were like using it to kind of record, capture the voice, the motion capture artist's face for who was going to play the role of Senua, and it wasn't some big grand motion capture studio or anything like that. It was just a small office room, and they just kind of like dedicated a small space where they were going to do it, and they just built this kind of like really kind of, I don't know, MacGyver style motion capture device, but it worked, which I thought was amazing. So I think Ninja Theory are definitely the guys for indie developers to keep an eye on in terms of how can indie development rival, you know, the quality and the expectations of AAA work, because they come up with some really groundbreaking stuff. I think they were one of the first game developers that used motion capture, like for a Heavenly Sword, which I do believe was extremely close to being, again, a launch title for the PS3. So motion capture for like a really early PS3 game, that was a pretty big deal.
Yeah, Uncharted did that too.
Yeah.
But you look at games as well, like, is it the Ethan Carter game? Is it Remember Ethan Carter or something like that? But I've seen that they've used technology where they'd go out and they would take like loads of pictures of different objects in real life and use those pictures from different angles to make those in the game then as assets. And for using that, they were able to make a really beautiful world with a small team as well. So the technology and the advances there will definitely be a big help.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think what most people might perceive is like, oh, what does it mean when you think indie game? What kind of game do you picture? And a lot of people might picture, very simplistic kind of games and, platformers and pixel art and that kind of thing. But I think people are pushing the standard of what it means to be an indie game now. So you're starting to see games that are just like, wow, I can't believe this is an indie game. I've played some of these games already. I'm kind of like, wow, I can't believe they've done this as an indie developer. This is awesome. So why can't I actually had a better time playing this game than I did with a AAA game that spent millions in marketing. So, yeah.
And if this plan fails, I'll just make games in dreams.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to be a game maker, so I just make levels in a Little Big Planet and stuff. Yeah.
Just ask people to donate money then.
Did you like this level? Please give me money. I'll make another level.
Spelled out in coins in Super Mario Maker.
Yeah. Oh God.
But yeah, that's the plan anyway. Hopefully things go well for me.
Yes, hopefully, man.
Do you want to move on to your topic now, Lee?
My topic. Okay, so I was literally kind of like, what do I even do for this podcast and stuff? I've never been on a podcast. What do I talk about? So I had to go get a topic, and I was thinking, what is it about video games that I like to think needs to be talked about more? And I think one of the big things for gaming right now is I think a lot of people are coming over that they were on one side of the fence, they're on the fence currently, and I think they're starting to lean over in favor of gaming being a legitimate art form, being an actual legitimate entertainment medium that stands like on a mature level or a sophisticated level on par or even surpasses than literature, movies, music, you name it. The video games does it, and it does it very well. So I've always kind of scrunched my face up a little bit when people who don't play games. Well, it is an understandable opinion because it's the stereotype. People who don't play games, they look at someone playing games and they have a sort of kind of like, oh, they still play games. Isn't that something you're supposed to grow out of? Isn't that something that only teenage boys do or something like that? And then you have to stop and think that, oh, actually these are like actual fully grown adult people who are actually making these games. These are adult actors, adult writers, composers. All of these people are very well educated and qualified people. This isn't just some slapped together thing for a child to enjoy mindlessly. That's one thing that kind of bugs me as well, is the stereotype that gaming is a mindless or even a brain rotting kind of waste of time. So one example that I absolutely loved, and this is why I do think this is one of the best games ever made, is The Last of Us. Is because The Last of Us, to me, in my opinion, it's not the best game ever made. It's not my favorite game. However, I do think it is the best game to expose people who haven't played games before to kind of get an actual real idea of what it is to play a game. Because the music in that game just there are some pieces in that game that just completely break me. I just get moved to a point where I'm just like, whoa, this is insane. Some of the cutscenes are just absolutely breathtakingly well done. My favorite cutscene in The Last of Us has to be the cutscene in the cabin where Joel walks in on Ellie reading a diary from someone before the whole apocalypse happened, and they kind of have this a bit of a tense moment and a misunderstanding, and it just made me go like, whoa, okay. I already understood what it meant to play a game as an avid gamer, but this was pushing boundaries, man. This was like, wow, I'm really being moved. I'm really invested in this. And as a bit of a test, what I did was I took my PS3 and a copy of The Last of Us to a friend's house who actually didn't play. He played, sport games and fighter games and stuff. He wasn't really into that whole like, oh, games can tell stories. Games can be moving. Games can be, you can actually learn. You can grow with video games. It's not just some, oh yeah, just scoring goals and stuff, or getting kills, that kind of thing. So I said, I want to play this game. I want to show this game to you. It was him and his wife, and they've never heard this game, never played this game, never played any game that was, you know, remotely storytelling-ish, you know. So I bring the console and the game over to them, and we go through the entire game in one night. We played the game from start to finish.
Wow.
I said multiple times, do you want to take a break? Do you want to stop? No, let's keep going. Anyone who played The Last of Us, the intro scene before you actually get the text The Last of Us, that introduces you, like, oh, this is what the game's about. I played it through that, and I kept constant attention on them as I was playing. I played the game, and we got to a part where something happens, and it sets up the intro for The Last of Us, and says The Last of Us, and you've got like this chilling, like, music playing in the background. And I just looked to them to see what their reaction was. The wife was crying, and the dude was just kind of stunned, just looking like this. What? And I was just like, yes, that's what video games does. So. Yeah. So there's still this kind of misconception, this stereotype that the gaming is a medium, well, not even a medium, it's a pastime, a mindless pastime for, you know, the young teenage male, when it just isn't. If you take a look at gaming back in, early 90s, when Doom released, my days, gaming got a really heavy blow given to it. Like, for people who enjoyed playing games, just got pretty much demonized, because Doom became like this scapegoat for this is why kids are violent, this is why everything's bad with the world, because people play in these brainwashing games that have you worshipping Satan and killing people and stuff, and demons and things like that. So it is interesting to look at how gaming, the kind of the perception of gaming from people who don't play games has changed throughout the years, and thankfully it is changing for the better. But you start like from the 90s, where Doom came out and people just lost their minds. It got banned in so many places, and I think it was one of the first games that became ridiculously addictive, to the point where I think some companies where, you know, people be gathered in offices and, you know, doing work, that they'd have a PC there to actually play Doom. There was actually, like, you know, official steps like, you cannot play Doom while working. You can't do this. Doom is banned. It was kind of like the Pokemon cards are banned from the playground at school, but for adults and stuff. And then when it kind of evolved from that into the 2000s, where, you know, games like Halo started, and console gaming started to become bigger. In the 90s, the PC was, you know, the king of gaming. This is what most people played their games on. And some people played on Nintendo and Sega. But it wasn't until, like, the PlayStation 1 came out, and we kind of start entering the early 2000s, going into the mid-2000s, where console gaming started to take over. And because of this easy to get into medium, you didn't have to upgrade your PC, you didn't have to install games, you didn't have to go into MS-DOS and kind of type in some code to launch a game. It was just put the disc in, play. So a lot more kids started to get into gaming. And because of this, I think stereotypes start to form that gaming is this child's thing, because so many kids were doing it. But now we're looking at, because so much money and funding is going into these games, people are starting to, technology is evolving, that game developers are starting to crank out things like Uncharted, like The Last of Us, where you're actually seeing these real life kind of things happening, where it's just, you care about the characters, you care about the world, and the game can teach you. You can understand more about yourself, or you can grow with the game. I know Metal Gear Solid was a huge thing for me growing up as a kid. It was a constant source of inspiration and understanding about myself and the world and society. Metal Gear kind of shaped a lot of that for me, or helped form the building blocks that I'd later go on to progress and develop. So I think there are some countries that are actually using Minecraft as an actual teaching tool now. There's like an actual Minecraft lesson where they actually dedicate an hour of school time to, I don't know whether it's games development or just creating. I think it might be some kind of arts involved class, but schools are actually using Minecraft to teach people, which I think is awesome. And I think in the UK now, every year 7 student, so every student who enters high school, I think gets given a very basic coding device. So even like mandatory, even if you don't want to get into it, everyone gets given a coding device now. So more and more people are starting to understand what is games, what is the reality of gaming, what does it mean to kind of be immersed, actually be in these worlds. I'm hoping in time that gaming is going to take over, cinema is going to take over literature, and it's going to be the go-to medium for people to kind of get lost in worlds or to kind of have a great artful, meaningful experience, because games can definitely do that. They're one of the best, if not the best, mediums for witnessing art. You've got writers, you've got composers, you've got actors, all these different kind of creative minds coming together to make this amazing thing, and you, the player, can be involved in it, which I just think is, you can't get better than that. So I think, the biggest thing in gaming right now is to constantly push the reality of gaming, that it's a legitimate, meaningful art form.
That is a lot to take in.
There's a lot to take in, yeah. It's something I've thought about. It's something I've thought about a lot. So I feel very passionate about it. Yeah, I'd like to see what your opinions are on it. How did you guys get into gaming, and what does gaming mean to you?
Gaming, to me, is a way to watch and play these experiences and stories. You know what I mean? I'm very similar in the fact that I was playing games like Mario and Zelda and stuff like that, and those games are great, and they're art in their own respect as well, But it wasn't until Metal Gear Solid where it's like, holy crap, this is what games are, This is what a video game can be, that's insane, and to see, more writers come on, and more actors come in, whether it be strictly voice actors or people who come in later who are regular actors and decide that they want to do voice acting as well.
Yeah.
I think it is something, as you were saying, that is, it's more than just watching a movie, There's that extra part of it of you actually being able to play the experience that makes it so much better. And a lot of these games have half or even less than the budget of a lot of these movies. You know what I mean? Like huge blockbuster movies that spend $250 million on it, You got a game like Metal Gear, which is considered an expensive game, Metal Gear Solid 5, and it only cost $80 million compared to
That's cheap.
When you compare it to the next Marvel Avengers movie or whatever, they're gonna spend $400 million on that movie or whatever.
Absolutely.
But it's definitely to me it is sort of a form of escapism. This is something that I'm going to play that's a lot more interesting than doing what I'm usually doing,
I mean, that's the beauty of any entertainment medium, isn't it? It's why you watch a TV show. It's why you listen to music or read a book. It's the exact same thing, isn't it?
It's just that games do it better in a lot of ways.
Absolutely, that's a great thing. I mean, not every game has to be some emotional roller coaster, an artful, meaningful thing. So that's the beauty of games. It can be anything. You can play games in so many different ways. You can only read a book the same way. You can only watch a movie the same way every time. Yeah. But the great thing about games is that you can do it in so many different ways.
The thing about games is, you have books where you have to imagine it, or you have TV where you're just sitting back and watching people on the screen. Games, you're in the game, you are in control. It's the only medium where you could actually be a part of it and you have control over what's actually happening, which is amazing.
I would say video games is for the person who actually I really appreciate the art that goes into making these entertainment mediums the most, because you want to be involved in them, or you want to actually live this art form, rather than just go oh yeah, I like to watch some movies and stuff. You don't really care too much about what's gone behind it. But with games, you're actually in it. You care about it.
Yeah, and if someone said to me it's not an art form, I would just be like, what are you talking about? How is it not an art form? If you think movies or music or anything's an art, then games obviously is, because they have that stuff in them. That's a part of games. I just, like, I'm under the impression that anything that somebody makes is a form of art in a way. You might not like it, but it is. If someone makes a cure, that's art in a way. You might not think it is, but it is. Someone put, their heart and soul into making that. It's their design. Anything really, even a label on a Coke bottle, someone put work into that.
Yeah, but the thing is, this is like a whole entire world you can like get invested in, and characters you can learn about, and all this stuff, So it's still kind of, I can understand it, because people just simply don't experience. They don't take the time to experience these things, so they have a misconception of what a game is. But I think there's a show in America. I think it's the Conan O'Brien show. I don't watch it, but he does like some clueless gamer thing, doesn't he? Where he'll be like recovering a game, and while he does, I think how he does it is he makes fun about the game a lot, and he kind of goes into it as a guy who doesn't play a game. So he's playing this game, he's like, whatever, man, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just playing games, So and the audience is getting a ha 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 out of it. So at the same time, in one way you can kind of look at that as it's kind of pushing the stereotype that games are mindless. But at the same time, what it is doing is it's getting the publicity out there, right? So for games right now, any publicity is good publicity. So long as people know about it and people are talking about it and people are actually becoming aware of it, this is good. People need to talk about video games more. They need to not just go video games for kids. They need to actually start getting involved with these things, because that's how gaming is going to start creeping up the mainstream ladder, and eventually is going to be the thing to do. I really think this is going to be a thing. I mean, the birth of esports, and now you've got like these actual teams who are making so much money actually playing games competitively. So you've got the competitive angle there as well. So people who are into that kind of sports and following teams and things like that. I think there was a lot of controversy with video games, with the whole competitive gaming aspect. I think it actually got its own bracket in this own extreme sports, I think, cup or tournament. So I think one female skier lady took to Twitter and was just like, this should not be allowed, and she sparked a lot of controversy about that.
Or something. They wanted to bring it on, and then
I'm not sure,
like,
but I
this
do
is
know.
a sport.
Yeah. There's constant talk about where you've got the traditional commentators of well-established sport games who are just kind of like, games ain't a sport, man. You're not an athlete if you're a gamer, and they always jump to the stereotype that a gamer is some overweight, stay-in-home recluse who has no life or has no ambition in life. And every commentator I've seen that has a negative comment to say about games being actually viewed as an actual competitive aspect, they always jump to that stereotype. So it just leads me to think that they don't actually know what they're talking about. Not as a dig at them or anything. They're just misinformed. They don't know. They've just fed the stereotype that that's what gamers are. This is what gaming is. But the more that these dudes are in gaming tournaments, that game show hosts, that night show hosts are talking about games, that this is becoming more and more publicly experienced, that games are gonna start. Oh, so this is what you can do in games. I didn't know you could do that in games. Oh, okay, so this is what it's about. I think a great thing that kind of bridged the gap between gamers and people who like to say watch stuff, just like to experience stuff. Was what Sony did with did anyone see that One Night Live, The Last of Us, where the actors of The Last of Us and the actual composer of The Last, I totally recommend you watch this. It is amazing. It's like an hour long. The actors of The Last of Us and the composer who did the music, which is amazing, they actually went on stage and they actually acted out the scenes in The Last of Us, and then you had moments where the composer would play music pieces from the game, and Neil Druckmann would then talk about what went into that scene, what's going to be coming next. It was a really great kind of experience, and it was all with a live audience in like from the stage, and you could watch it live as a stream. You can now watch it as a video on YouTube. It was absolutely amazing, and this helped kind of take the art and the passion and the effort from the screen and put it in front of you as a living, breathing person, and actually make it, I guess, comprehensible to someone who isn't fully understanding of what video games is or the capabilities of them. So I think we need to see more things like that, like the One Night Live and the kind of where the actors actually come together to reenact the game on stage, which I thought was absolutely amazing. It was such a joy to watch.
Yeah. Go ahead, Brian. Sorry.
Yeah, for sure. I think what really is helping a lot of these more grounded things now, like Mario didn't have writers. You know what I mean? Like it was like,
yeah.
And now you have a lot of people who are willing to write these amazing stories for video games that you definitely didn't see in the early 90s.
Yeah, I mean, from a technological standpoint, or just from, what does it mean to play a game from the 80s and the early 90s, it was just side-scrollers, man, beat-em-ups, platformers, that's what it was. So, so I think the stereotype was formed there, and then it kind of just stuck, like, throughout the years. But now that gaming's evolved, and it's taken the mainstream population to kind of just take some time for them to catch up, but they're getting there, man. They're getting there. So I think we just need to further push that kind. I mean, the most popular content on YouTube, which used to be music and then was vlogs, is now gaming videos. So gaming has quite literally taken over YouTube, which is the most popular video watching format on the internet.
Yeah, and going back there to what you were saying about whenever the NES launched, because of all the issues with games before with the Atari and the whole ET thing, nobody wanted to buy a games console.
Right.
So Nintendo launched the NES with a little robot as a toy, and that probably got in people's mindsets, this is a kid's toy, and from then,
that's what I mean. I think the stereotypes were formed then, and they just got reinforced throughout the years. Yeah. But with education and exposure, like competitive gaming or night show hosts talking about these games, I think Conan O'Brien actually had a fair play to him. I don't watch his show or anything like that, but at least he's doing stuff to kind of further the gaming agenda to public audiences. I think he had the voice actress and the motion capture artist, same person, for the new Lara Croft in the Tomb Raider reboot, and she was talking about the game and stuff, and then he did a Clueless Gamer coverage where he was actually playing the game and stuff. So I think that's awesome, because now people are going, oh wow, there's actors in this game and stuff. I didn't know that games had actors in them. And so you've got things like Kiefer Sutherland and all these other like high name actors who are actually in video games now, which is just fantastic to see, because again, it's just pushing the awareness out there and the quality of, there's a real big film star in this game must be a big deal then. Of course, if you're in the whole video game industry, that's not like, it's going to be a great game. But for people who aren't into video games, it's like, I didn't know that video games had this kind of level of standard, so it's good to see this happening more and more often.
Yeah, it really is, and I think is it Jimmy Fallon, who's an American TV show host as well, and I think he plays a lot of Mario Kart and talks about that on his show. Brian, you probably know more. Is it Jimmy Fallon?
Jimmy Fallon does some games coverage every once in a while as well. I think he
seems to be a legit gamer. Like he actually plays these games, from what I've seen anyway.
He is more of a gamer. I believe it was even was it him? I think it was his show where like him and Pierce Brosnan played GoldenEye.
Was it GoldenEye? No way! He played GoldenEye with Pierce Brosnan.
And Jimmy Fallon like whooped his ass in it too.
Oh no! That kind of breaks the whole James Bond.
Yeah. But yeah, and like I believe it was Stephen Colbert at one point. He was like showing off No Man's Sky on his show. And that's like crazy to think of, that like Stephen Colbert would have like a legit video game like that being promote
or
it.
even if whether or not I like the game or what, the fact that video games in general are just getting, the kind of coverage and the reception that they truly deserve. They're starting to get it just now. They're just starting to get it now. It just really makes me happy, and I just hope that it's a sample of things to come. And I would probably say in 5-10 years time, if you look at video games like in terms of a cultural thing, it's going to be way bigger than what it is now, what it has been in the past 10 years. It's going to be huge.
Yeah, although it's definitely it's growing constantly, and if you want to look at gaming as a whole, everyone is technically a gamer now with their mobile phone.
Well, yeah, I mean, absolutely.
You have people's grandmothers sitting playing, I don't know, Candy Crush and things like that. They're technically a gamer.
That's the thing about video games, is that anyone can get into them. There's a video game for you. It doesn't matter who you are, what your personality is, what your tastes and interests are. There is a video game for you, because that's the beauty and the uniqueness of video games. You have to sit through a movie for an hour and a half or 2 hours or sometimes even more every time you want to watch a movie, and you just sit there and you watch it. I enjoy watching movies, but not everyone's going to enjoy that. Some people might just want a quick 5-10 minute burst of something, or some people want even longer. They want to spend a whole entire day in an RPG world or something. There's a video game for every kind of mentality, and when the world kind of acknowledges that and embraces it, then everyone's going to be doing it. Everyone.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it is exciting, and something you were mentioning earlier, I think, when you were on about Doom, people saying how, like, devil worshippers and things. The mainstream media, the big news networks and that, really didn't help with gaming.
At the end of the day, they're looking to make a quick buck with ratings and stuff, aren't they? So just like, is your kid playing this game? He might be a Satan worshipper and he's going to kill you tonight. You should watch this. So
what I think is they did the same thing with music, like rap music, and wasn't it Martin Manson they blamed for some guy who like shut up a school or something, and now they're blaming games. And
that's the thing. That's the thing. More again from. In the past, people did believe a lot of what they were told. They get told the same by some dude in a suit and with a piece of paper in his hand and go, "Oh, it must be true then, it's on TV." But now we've got, we're all connected through the internet, and we're all sharing information constantly. And you've got websites like WikiLeaks who are constantly, kind of debunking all of these controversial things that are happening. People are starting to kind of read between the lines or just not read into bullshit so much. So if you just kind of go like, oh, video games are making your kid be a serial killer, a lot of more people are going to go like, yeah, okay, dude. Well, rather than actually go, no way, this is serious. I need to ban video games from the household or something like that. In the 90s and 80s, yeah, they would have done that instantly, and they did. But nowadays, people just be like, shut up, man. No one takes your news report seriously anymore anyway. So which is great. It's good to see that, people are starting to kind of, again, just not be led into that misconception of what video games are and what they do to people. There's been constant back and forth debates about, are video games making people violent? Are they causing these school shootings? Because it all started with, again, Doom. Unfortunately, it's a great game. But this kid who wasn't so successful, I guess, socially or something. I didn't read too much into his life, but he hated school, I believe. He ended up making a level, which is basically his school, in Doom, and he had like his classmates and the teacher as typical enemies that you've come across in Doom, and you'd run into the school, blah 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 blah, and you kill all these dudes, and you do it over and over again, and eventually, he did it. But at the end of the day, no matter how many times I've played Doom, no matter how many times I've played Gears of War or God of War or anything that involves ripping off someone's face, I've never turned off the game and go, okay, I need to kill someone. I just gotta kill someone now, man, because I'm too immersed in my game. No, it's complete bollocks. And I do think a recent study has finally debunked the whole do games make you violent? And it's like, no, they don't. And they've gone into a lot of evidence and science behind how there's basically no change in behavior or personality.
If anything, I feel like it could relieve stress. Like if someone was in a bad mood that day, they could come home and play a game and take out their anger on a game or something. It helps.
Yeah, and I think there was like a kid who killed his friend with a meat hook because he played Manhunt. And you could do
I
that
think it was a sledgehammer. I don't know.
it's like at the end of the day, if you're actually capable and considering doing something like that, video games did not influence you to do that, man. You've got to be of a certain predisposition mentally to actually go, okay, I'm going to stab you with this meat hook now. That video games cannot make you do that. It's not hypnotherapy or some brainwashing
games,
secret.
They would just watch movies and they would blame that. You know what I mean? It's not.
Again, you have completely violent movies. You have completely violent literature. You have violent music. But again, if someone's actually going to, kill someone or do something crazy because I heard a song and it kind of made me angry, like what? Come on, man. There's a lot more going on behind the scenes than you simply listening or experiencing something and then you just go, okay, I'm gonna act on this now.
Yeah, you'd imagine the people who blame games and that, you think they didn't know murder existed before these things. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
This has always happened. It's nothing to do with...
Again, I think it was, instead of an actual real belief that video games were causing this kind of behavior, it was just something that sparked drama. It was something that sparked people's attention and got them to, watch and use it. It was just more of a ratings thing rather than an actual belief system going on. Just a problem. It was something that people then actually believed. So they then adopted it as truth.
Yeah, the media then convinced people that this research and that was probably not even done correctly was true, and then people kind of were getting on that bandwagon. And
gaming has taken a lot of hits over the years, but they're just starting to kind of get that recognition and the realistic kind of embrace that what do games really do? Yes, games can be mindless. Games can just be a way to kill time and just have a lot of fun. But games can also be extremely meaningful. They can be character developing for you as an individual. They can be educational. Actual schools are using them as educational systems now. There's something there that anyone can benefit from because that's just how diverse and varied the art form is.
Yeah, for sure. I would say if you're coming home angry, I dare you to not put on Persona 4 and immediately start smiling.
Exactly. I mean, that's what a lot of people do, don't they? They come home from work, they come home from school, they want to play a game, they want to do something, man. They want to have fun. Yeah. So but there are some people just like, oh, I really feel like getting into this kind of world again, or learning more about the lore. Like recently, I've been getting more and more into the Elder Scrolls games because one, I hope I get into the whole Skywind thing as the Dark Elves or any of the other races, but also because I actually just want to learn more about the game. I want to learn more about the history of the game and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, there's so much you can do with video games, and it's not just the Mario thing that you play on that most people think of. So, yeah, I'm really glad to see that gaming is evolving as an actual, real, legitimate art form. And I want to do all I can and help kind of push that forward.
Definitely. There's no doubt in my mind it's an art form. It's just taking time to get everyone else to also feel the same way.
I think it's because gaming is just radically different. So with difference comes misconceptions, misunderstandings, and some friction. Just taking a good few decades for that to kind of blow over, and now people are starting to embrace it, which is a great thing. I just hope it continues.
Okay, so is that us with that topic?
That's it. I'm done. I'm out.
So we normally finish up just saying what we're currently watching or playing at the moment. What are you playing at the minute, Brian? More Persona?
Well, I'm playing Tom Clancy's The Division.
Oh.
And yes, I have actually I haven't really gotten back into my second playthrough of Persona 4 Golden yet, but I have been playing more of Persona 4 Dancing All Night. That game, it's just
I've been listening
I'm not
to
really good at rhythm games at all, but I really want to get really good at this rhythm game, So, and it actually does have a really good story. Like the story mode is awesome.
I'm really surprised at that because I was just listening to the soundtrack and I was like, wow, this soundtrack is awesome. So I just listening to that.
It is awesome.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of just the free dance, just going through trying to get better at the game now because I've never really been that great at rhythm games. What I've been watching, I finished House of Cards Season 4. That was really awesome. And just yesterday I watched Max Landis's newest movie, Me, Him, Her. He was a guest on a podcast that we watched called Kind of Funny, and he was promoting it, and he wrote Chronicle, and it was just a really awesome movie. It's about this guy coming out to his friend, and he wants his friend to help him come out to everybody else, and it just like all sorts of crazy stuff happens in it. Like it's really funny. I would recommend it for sure. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been playing and watching.
Well, I've just been playing more Persona 4 because we're the.
Is everyone playing Persona 4?
What?
Yes.
No way.
I hounded
what we're
these guys
doing
to play.
is we're all trying to finish it now within the next 2 or 3 weeks, and then we're going to do like a spoiler podcast about it where we all just talk about it. So it should
Oh,
be...
don't invite me for that one then. I'm going to be playing this game for like another year or two.
Yeah, especially with the videos and the editing, man, that's going to take you so long.
Yes.
About 500 parts. It's
Oh,
6
yes.
years later, and you're still playing.
Yep.
But yeah, and then I've also been trying to go for a platinum trophy in Fallout 4, so I'm getting a bit into that again. Yeah, it's fun, but it's just not the same as whenever I was playing Fallout 3 because it's kind of the same experience as before. And I'm going to see 10 Cloverfield Lane tomorrow, so I can't wait for that.
Awesome, dude. Awesome. Yeah, I watched that. It was so good. Yeah. Can't wait to see what you think about it.
What about you, Lee? Persona and the Elder Scrolls?
Yeah, so I've been playing Persona 4 Golden.
Yes.
It's an actual blind playthrough. Yes. It's actually the first Persona 4 that I haven't played the original. I don't know how the original and the remake. Well, I do know some of how it differs. A lot of people that I've noticed when I've been playing the Golden one is a lot of people do not like Chie's voice actress in Golden because of the change. What do you think about it?
I love Chie,
What do you
man.
think about it?
Chie's the bomb.
But what about her voice actress in Golden compared to the original? Have you played the original?
I never played the original.
Okay.
But
A lot of people don't like it, whereas a lot of people just say, gee, sounds like she's 30 years old in the original anyway, so this is good. So I don't know. I've only played the Golden version. I'm loving it though so far. It's a very fun game. But yeah, I've been almost got all of the achievements. Me and my wife have been playing Skyrim like practically every day, every night now. So for the past 2 weeks or so, we've been constantly swapping saves and stuff. She's a higher level than me. She's gotten further than me. She's gotten way more achievements than I have. So I'm just like, oh, okay. Yeah, I've been looking to do a melee only run of Fallout 4. I haven't completed Fallout 4 yet. I only did like about 5 hours of it, and I was kind of like, I just dropped it for some reason. I just didn't stick with the game. Just went off to do other things. So I'm looking to. I did pick it up again a couple of days ago, and I remade a character. I made it so that they would be efficient with doing melee attacks only. I don't want to fire a single shot. And so far it's been really challenging, but it's been really fun. So I'm having a lot of fun with that. So I've been thinking whether or not to continue that. I've literally only just left the vault and done a couple of exploring thingies. I'm actually, I think it's because I'm in the Elder Scrolls mood. I've been really wanting to get the Elder Scrolls Online for the PC and get into that. So I've just been reading loads and loads of, what is the Elder Scrolls Online in terms of how it differs to, all the other MMOs out there. And I've been wanting to continue Deus Ex Human Revolution because Mankind Divided is coming out relatively soon, and I'm beyond hyped for that game. And that's more. Oh yeah, and I've been wanting to play more older games as well. There's an old game out there that I've been really wanting to play called Arx Fatalis from the makers of Dishonored. Really looking forward to playing it.
Yeah. You played the Thief games as well, I think.
Yeah, I really want to
Enjoy
play the
those?
Thief games. Yeah, I really want to play the Thief games. I've been playing the reboot recently, actually. Again, I almost completed that game. I literally just dropped it for favoring Skyrim, though. I should just finish that game. But yeah, I can see how it differs from the originals and why people may not like it so much. But honestly, I do think a lot of the people kind of going, "Oh, boo, this game sucks." I think they kind of need to, take off the rose-tinted goggles a little bit because it's still a Thief game. If you completely disable everything like I have and just go as a ghost, it's very much Thief. But yeah, it does feel different at the same time. The originals definitely are much better. But yeah, that's basically all I've been playing. I'm more of a gamer than I am going to movies and watching movies and stuff. So a lot of time that I could spend watching a movie is definitely spent playing a game. So I haven't seen a movie. I think the last movie I actually saw in cinema was Fast and Furious 7, which I absolutely love because I love Vin Diesel. He's amazing. Yeah, that's another great a great dude in video gaming. As I think he had a capped character, a capped warlock on World of Warcraft. He played Dungeons and Dragons like crazy, and he ended up actually using that character as inspiration for the role in his most recent movie, The Last Witch Hunter, which is awesome. And he was the voice actor for Chronicles of Riddick, which is based off the movies, which is just awesome. Yeah, but in terms of movies, I live with my wife and her parents, and they absolutely love superhero stuff. Anything superhero stuff. So you've got Batman versus Superman. You got I think it's the Iron Man versus Captain America movie, and then you've got another Avengers movie or something crazy. I don't know. So they want to go and see those. So I'm probably going to end up seeing those soon.
Batman versus Superman. That's out now.
Oh, is it?
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's out this week.
Yeah, I saw a trailer of it, and I'm not much of a superhero fan in general. I've never really watched like much of the movies or read the comics or anything like that. But I saw Batman, and just Batman looks chunky as hell in this movie, man. I don't know if it's a suit or anything, but he's like a brick now. He's just a big
my god!
brick.
I actually really like the way Ben Affleck looks as Batman, dude.
I do like the look of it.
Big,
I do like
man. Like.
He has to fight Superman. You need to wear something to help.
Yeah, because before Batman kind of looked a bit gimmicky to me. He went too far with the whole costume thing. Like, I know you're a superhero and you wear costumes, but that's just too far, man. It's too far. You got the bat mask and the cape and the bat belt and stuff. Whereas in this one, he just looks a bit of a badass. So I'm kind of, okay. I can kind of get on board with this one a bit more.
Awesome. Yeah, so this has been episode 6 of Geek Trifecta. Thanks so much again, Lee, for joining us.
Hey, anytime.
It's been great talking to you.
Pleasure. Thank you so much.
So
This was really fun, man. Thanks for coming on. You're obviously welcome to come back anytime you want, man, for sure.
Thank you very much. I would love to, just not for the Persona 4 one.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, if you want to follow us on Twitter, we're at the Geek Trifecta, and I'm at SPG Vids. Brian, what's yours there?
I'm at Brian Poteet. I know, kind of boring sounding, but that's me.
And there's probably no point in Lee saying has Twitter because it won't make any difference. 0 views anyway.
Well, my Twitter is snaky_bakey. Because my second name's Baker. It's not because I get baked or anything like that.
Both. I'm joking. Well, thanks anyway for watching, guys. Bye.
Take care.
See ya.